Yeah, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Quayle. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. On the program today, Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. We got to get caught up on some football, man. They doing nailing commitments left and right this week. Tom Allen and staff, they're on it. Back at it. We're also going to hear from former Indiana basketball player Freddie McSwain. Old friend Freddie back on the program again. He's in town. He's in Bloomington. Kicking up his heels. Archie Miller basketball camp. He's helping out. Look forward to talking to Freddie. Mr. Excitement. Not really. The first time I had Freddie on, man, I must have went through 20 questions, 30 questions to get the time out of him last time. He was a lot better this time when we spoke. Those one-word answers makes a big difference on how many questions you have to ask in an interview. College World Series continues, and it will continue because Vanderbilt knocked off Michigan last night, 4-1. It's for all the marbles tonight. Winner takes all. Can Michigan bring the Big Ten its first baseball national championship in half a century? We'll see. It's there tonight. Romeo Langford getting more accustomed and settled in Boston. I wonder if Romeo likes clam chowder. Clam chowder. I love some clam chowder. I wish I had some clam chowder right now. Clam chowder with a little cayenne pepper in it. Look at Jake's face.
For the first meal of the day?
Oh, man, it does absolutely. Bust it up. Get on it.
Ugh.
My body knows no clock when it comes to eating. Cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger with jalapenos right now. Son, I'd tear it up. I'd Charles Barkley tear it up.
Hey, that's a little bit more palatable than clam chowder for breakfast.
Oh, clam chowder. I can eat some clam chowder. Yeah, I got a little. I need to go buy some, man. I bet. Put a little milk in it. You put some garlic pepper, garlic powder, rather, onion powder, and a little cayenne powder, a little cayenne pepper. Oh, yeah, that'd be just fine for breakfast. I'm all good with that.
Have as much as you want.
Yeah, but Romeo up in clam chowder country. Of course, drafted by the Boston Celtics, number 14, one of four new faces in Boston. Carson Edwards from Purdue, of course. But we get to hear from Romeo as I think it's Celtics.com is actually where this is originally from, but just getting to talk to it's weird to hear him talk in a non-press conference setting where he's not as engaged. So he's a little more engaged here, so it's kind of nice. But here's Romeo talking about life in Boston.
Romeo, it's obviously been a whirlwind for you. You were in Brooklyn for the draft, and now you're here joining the Boston Celtics. What was draft night like for you?
It was a long process. The bus ride over there just leading up to it. Well, forget that. Just before that.
We'll rewind.
Yeah, waking up, just a lot of meetings just from that time. So it was just a lot of talking and then finally get on the bus. You think that's going to go by fast. Once you get there, all you got to do is just sit there and wait for your name to be called. You get there, you got to do some more media and meetings, and then finally get to sit at the table. And you're just not there yet. You still got to wait a couple more, like 30 minutes or so, and then finally the commissioner comes, and then we're waiting here to wait for your name to get called. Everybody's name get called before yours, so really it's like real nerve-wracking. And then finally, once I seen the cameras just slowly but surely come towards my table, that's when I knew that the Celtics were going to pick me at 14. So it was really surreal, and it was a really happy time with my parents and my family and the people I invited with me. So it's that time I'll remember first in my life.
And just for you, too, what went through your mind knowing that you would be joining the Boston Celtics, one of the most storied franchises in NBA history?
Just that. I feel like Boston Celtics is one of the best programs in the college anymore. Best franchise in the NBA, and I like to win, so I just couldn't wait to get on the team, get to work, get to meet my new teammates, and become family.
Something that's interesting, you weren't able to work out with the Celtics because of the thumb injury, but you stood out to them just through the interview process and what you showed. What do you think allowed you to be able to show them what you were capable of, the player that you are and also the man that you are?
Yeah, I just think my time in Indiana, start with there, be able to play through a thumb injury, because this program's all about toughness and winning and producing, and I feel like not too many people are going to play with a torn ligament, and that showed how tough I was and how much I care about winning and being there for my teammates. So that's one reason I feel like I fit so well in the program and they see something in me. And then also I think I just had a really good interview with them at the Combine. I know that I wasn't going to be able to work for any team, so I knew that was going to be a big part of the process of a team picking me, and I feel like that's what ultimately made the Boston Celtics choose me.
You mentioned that toughness. You averaged 16.5 points per game playing through that thumb injury. How much were you looking to prove that you were not only a tough player, but also a really hard worker? That's like one thing I feel like had to get cleared. I mean, that just showed that how tough I was, and that I'm not just going to quit or really care about this game, that I love it a lot and I'm all about winning. And I think that's like a big reason that like teams and people see in me, that how tough I am, just be able to play through a torn ligament and be there for my team. Both Brad and Danny knew about you before you even started playing at Indiana. They were following your career. What does that mean to you to know that they were invested in you and being able to follow you before you were able to produce in college?
It means a lot that they took the time to follow me before I even got to college, and then now that I get to play with them, build an even more relationship. Me get to know them, I feel like they probably already know me pretty much, because they've been following me for a while. But just can't wait to get to know me even more.
Speaking of that relationship, Brad Stevens, also from Indiana. What is your guys' relationship right now?
I mean, I didn't really follow him too much just growing up. I just know of him just from being a coach at Butler. But relationship is there, but it's going to be even stronger once we get to training camp.
Yeah, and in training camp, what are you hoping to prove to this Celtics team, and what maybe skill set are you hoping that stands out that the Celtics see and incorporate?
Really, I feel like the Celtics already know everything I can do. They have the reason they drafted me, but I just want to go in and just do what the coach needs for me to do to help the team win and get another championship soon.
I know you had the surgery on your thumb, going through rehab right now. Describe what that's like for you, and if you potentially might be available for Summer League in July.
Yeah, right now, I just got cleared to start shooting just not too long ago. So now I'm just really doing rehab therapy every single day, and hopefully taking it day by day and see what the doctor says, and maybe I can be cleared for Summer League.
Awesome. Well, we hope that you are, and we're looking forward to watching you play.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
There's Romeo Langford talking with Amanda Pflugard at the Auerbach Center in Boston, getting acclimated into his new city. Very interesting, but he's not. I'm not sure if he's going to be available for summer league. That's going to be disappointing. Really hoping to see him play in the summer league, but I'm not sure how positive I feel he'll be playing in that. If he just got cleared to shoot, summer league's still a couple weeks away, 3 weeks away. You ought to be able to go, but we'll see. We'll certainly see. But very interesting to hear him open up a little bit. That summer league starts, what was that? July, I forget. July what?
I think July 5th.
I was going to say July 6th is what I was thinking.
One
Was
of
the
those
first
2
game.
days.
And then it's a very short run, just a couple weeks, and then you get bust into the playoffs. So, but it's a cool little burst, man. It's really turned into must-see summer TV. Thank goodness. Manna from heaven. I'm not going to lie, for show content, it sure helps for July. And then you had the Big Ten Media Days, football media days coming up. July 16th. Yeah, that ends on like the 15th, and media days on the 16th through the 19th. We'll be coming to you from Chicago for that. Hey, and before I forget, I think we're going to start for our live broadcast. I think we're going to switch times, move a little later. Before I do that, get a little input. Not sure if we're looking at 8 to 10 or 10 to 12. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Hit us up on the text, 812-269-6367. Whether you're listening live or not, let me know what your preference is. Bill text in. He can sure go for some pulled pork right now, Jake.
I could eat that for breakfast. That's for sure.
Now see, now you're being arbitrary.
No, and there's a difference between pulled pork and clam chowder. For
Muhammad,
breakfast.
you're being truculent.
I mean, you can fry up some leftover pulled pork and put that with a fried egg sandwich on some toast with some cheddar cheese, and that's amazing.
Yeah, but you put a fried egg sandwich on anything. I put fried eggs on pizza for breakfast.
On clam chowder? You're going to put it on clam chowder?
You could.
Yeah,
it would probably be a unique opportunity, a unique culinary experience.
You would probably get arrested for that.
I do it on pizza. That's not bad either. But more to it than besides us talking about our breakfast fetishes. Matt Weaver's going to join us today. Man, Indiana is killing it right now on the recruiting front. They've got like 4 commitments in the last 3 days from all over the place. Got another one from Florida yesterday, Jawan Sparks, big D lineman. And Amos Brown from Florida, Michigan, Georgia. They're coming from all over, man. They are coming from all over. We're going to have the opportunity to talk with some of the IU football players today. Looking forward to that. We'll have that for you. One of those, Samson James, a name that things will be expected from this year. Maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, they've got a pretty good running backs room. That is, you got Cole Guest that's back. You got Stevie Scott, Ivory Winters. Man, that's a pretty talented room they got there. But yeah, looking forward to that. I always enjoy talking to those guys. Tywan Mullen, we got to speak with him last week. it always amazes me what takes off on social media, what really flies. I posted a clip from Taiwan of him just talking about, and I didn't come 16 hours away to mess around. We came to play and came to change the program, in essence. But it's like 15,000 views that thing's got now. 15,000. That's a lot, Jake. That's what you call going viral. What do you consider viral? How many views does it take for you to consider it viral?
I mean, it's probably a relative scale. Within Indiana football circles, that's definitely viral. I mean, I don't know. I think it's definitely a lot for.
It surprised me. It surprised me. That's the second biggest number I've had. Second only to Bob Knight when I spoke with Bob Knight on his return. Hey, we got a lot coming up on the show today. Matt Weaver joins us from Pigs.com. We're going to talk about this unbelievable recruiting job continuing being done by Tom Allen and that staff as they're locking up commitments left and right from all over the country, I might add. Former Hoosier baller Freddie Mac Swain. He's in town to join us for a conversation as well. Hey, stay tuned. We got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. for your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Hope you get yourself to a good start. Now we're going to cap it off. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier joins us now. Michael, how's it going?
Doing great, Jim. How are you?
Good, man. A lot to talk about. Let's see. Since the last time we spoke, Romeo Langford's now a member of the Boston Celtics. That's a pretty good deal for him, and I cannot imagine a better landing spot than going to play under Brad Stevens.
Yeah. I think Boston wants to turn their whole team into Indiana guys, right? I think
heading in that direction. I mean, you've got Gordon Hayward, and they also pick up Carson Edwards on that team. So you've got a Butler guy coaching an IU and a Purdue guy and another Butler guy. So Notre Dame's kind of slacking here.
Yeah, I guess they want to go back to the Larry Bird days. That worked out pretty well for them. So why not try to relive the glory days there? But yeah, no, I agree. I thought it was a good landing spot. I mean, obviously Boston is a tough town from a fan and media perspective, but the good news for Romeo is that he, got a little bit of a taste of that, spending a year in Bloomington. There are some similarities with Boston, kind of having a bunch of banners hanging in their rafters and having a rabid fan base with high expectations and high hopes. And he's seen a little bit of all that. So he's at least not going to go into this not knowing what to expect from that standpoint. But, I think they're obviously turning their roster over a lot right now. But, I just thought it was once again refreshing to hear, the perspective of people, beyond rabid fans, people like a Danny Ainge or a Brad Stevens, what they saw in him, what their impression was of his freshman season, how he played through the injury and what that meant to them. It's just good to hear some outside perspective, outside of the IU bubble that we all live in, and it kind of refreshed and reset some of the thinking that's been circulating around him, on top of the comments that, someone like a Juwan Morgan made. I think, that the story of his stay at Indiana, albeit very brief, is already being, refreshed and rewritten. And I think ultimately it's going to be looked upon favorably.
I guess because they'll forget the bad season. But on one hand, what else would the Boston Celtics people say? They're not gonna cut on any negatives. But it's more importantly, it's a fresh start for Romeo. It's an opportunity for him to just put all that stuff behind and just go do what he wants to try to do and get accomplished. And Good luck to him in that endeavor. You also had Juwan Morgan, speaking of him, signing with the Utah Jazz. So a good possibility for Juwan to hopefully latch on to an NBA team.
Yeah, and no surprise there on the location. After he worked out with them, he met with the media, and he specifically commented that he liked their system and thought that there was a good fit there. So, that's one of the advantages of not getting drafted is having somewhat of a voice in where you end up. Now, what I understand is that his deal is just a summer league deal, so he's going to have to, earn his spot, which, he pretty much was going to have to do anyway. So not a huge deal there, but it'll be interesting to watch. I suspect he's going to start out his career in the G League, but, that's not such a bad thing to do. And if it ends up that he goes overseas, as we've seen with guys like Holes and Sheehy, that's not such a bad thing either. So, wherever his career takes him, I think he's got a bright future in basketball for a long time if he wants to do it.
The NCAA California is about to pass a law that will allow athletes to benefit off of their own likeness. The NCAA and Muppet Mark Emmert has come along and said, "Oh no, we can't have that. That's just not gonna fly. So we're gonna threaten you with a ban on championships." I don't see this working out well for the NCAA personally.
Yeah, well, it seems like once this sort of thing starts to gain a little bit of traction and somebody makes a move, like it sounds like the state of California has, it seems like it goes in that direction ultimately. But you see it with all kinds of different things outside the realm of sports. And so, yeah, I think ultimately the NCAA is going to have to rethink this. The thing that always puzzles me about it is, how do you handle this kind of stuff for, players in the other sports that aren't so high profile? I mean, maybe it's not a big deal for benefiting off your likeness because technically anybody could do that.
But isn't the NCAA working on something along these lines already?
As far as allowing players to benefit, I know it's been one of those things that's like on the table. I don't know how far along they are with it, but the pace that they move, it's not something that I would have expected to have happen like this year or anything. But I agree. I feel like it has been mentioned,
and I think they have bigger problems, bigger fish to fry than worrying about what California is going to be doing. They need to get their own organization under wraps.
Right. Yeah, it's they're a favorite, kind of whipping boy, and in most cases it's it's deserved. The one place I always kind of lose alignment with people criticizing the NCAA, and I'm curious how you feel about this, the whole notion of paying players. I mean, benefiting from the likeness is one thing. Benefiting from, things like jersey sales, things like that. I understand that because it's specific to the player. But when you talk about actually just out and out paying players on top of all the benefits that they are already receive, that's where I get a little bit sideways with the conventional wisdom, because I feel like, then you're talking about, okay, what about the sports that don't actually turn a profit? Are we paying them too, or how are we deciding who we're paying, and where does that all ultimately go?
Absolutely. Mike Joker text in, Mike, do you think Romeo can explain to Carson the pressure of playing under the banners and for a rabid fan base? I don't think he has to explain much to Carson Edwards after the year he had. This is not a year for that argument, I assure you.
Yeah, I get the joke by Joker there, no pun intended. But yeah, I think Carson's going to go into things just fine as well. I don't know if people heard their press conference yesterday, but it was interesting because they took turns talking about, how they game plan for each other. So it was a little bit of inside baseball there on the IU Purdue matchups, and they were both very complimentary of each other. Basically, Romeo Langford said that, the game plan with Edwards was, you can't let him have the ball, which made perfect sense to me, as you saw in the NCAA tournament. Once he gets it, he's within range wherever he is. And I thought Indiana did a really good job, especially in the second game, of keeping the ball out of his hands and forcing him into very bad shots when he took them. But, that's probably just more of him being a streaky shooter than anything. And then Edwards had mentioned that, the game plan with Langford was to, double team him and get a lot of pressure on him, and similarly just, try to get the ball in somebody else's hands. So that they were the centerpieces of the game plans in those two meetings last year, as you would have expected.
Recruiting going full tilt right now. Last weekend up at Ben Davis High School in Indianapolis, the IBC, Indiana Basketball Coaches Association Top 100 camp was on. You were there, I believe, checking out that play. A lot of the same guys that we'd seen at Archie's camps, but a lot more there at Ben Davis.
Yeah, I mean, literally the top 100 players in the state of Indiana, at least as evaluated by the coaches in the state. It was an interesting event. I know that there was a lot of chatter about it, a lot of negative chatter about the format of the event, because it was basically, okay, we take the top 100 kids in the state, we just cram them all in a room, divide them up into teams, and essentially just play pickup basketball after they spent an hour, doing various kinds of just basic basketball drills that almost just looked like a practice, like 3-on-2 drills and things like that. But at the end of the day, where I came out on it, just from an overall perspective, is that you still learn something about, players, and especially, at least from my perspective, the kind of players I think Indiana should be recruiting are, players that play with an edge to them, have a little bit of nastiness to them, which I think's been missing from the roster. And when you throw kids into that format where it's not really serious, they're not playing on a team that they, know the guys, and, they could just kind of loaf through it. The kids that you see really, playing with an edge and playing really hard, stand out to me. And, the one guy that I saw do that was Trey Galloway. There was a lot of guys that did it, but Galloway really stood out to me. I mean, he was really engaged, really playing hard defense, really just aggressive throughout the time that he was on the court. And that to me said something. I've seen him play before and seen him play that way, but to even do it in that kind of format when maybe it wasn't, on a team that he's used to, I thought stood out. I think there were other guys that stood out to me as well, not necessarily from that vantage point, but just from a basketball skills standpoint. There's a kid that, if you haven't heard of him, people are going to start hearing about out of Gary, Indiana. His name's Jalen Washington. He's class of 22, so just an incoming sophomore, but he's going to be, one of those guys that, not a Romeo type deal, just because he's probably, he's from Gary, and it just doesn't, generate the same kind of following statewide because it's so far up on the northwest corner there. But he's going to be that level of talent, I think, ultimately, like a top 10 national type of guy. He's 6'9" right now as an incoming sophomore, can already, play the post, can already handle the ball, shoot from 3-point range. He's not fully matured into his body as you would expect yet, but he's got all the skills and all the attributes that you would look for. And I think he's going to be a highly coveted recruit. He's already been offered by IU and Purdue, and he's going to end up being offered by all the Blue Buds, would be my guess on that. And he looks to fit that part.
A lot of offers been flying around here of late. A lot of them previously had been a lot of in-state kids, but you just mentioned one there. You got Bryce Hopkins, Max Christie, Jalen Bridges, all getting offers here lately. All in that same 6'6", 6'5", 6'7", 6'8" wing range.
Yeah, I had the exact same reaction. I think, I don't know how many of those type of players it is in a row here, at least 4 or 5 that, exactly that, 6'6", 6'7", versatile, can handle the ball, probably have played some, ball in the paint just because of their size at a high school level. But it's probably more than anything, it's just, that because those are the type of players that are kind of the epitome of where the game is going, just that versatility that, sometimes people don't like this word because of prior coaching staffs, but the positionless concept of basketball, it's clearly is where basketball is headed. And so that's probably part of it. I think another big part of it is just, the length on the pack line defense is very critical, when you're kind of not giving up threes, but, having threes be kind of the last resort for an offense. You want length to close out on the shooters on the perimeter. So I think Archie Miller's focusing on those type of players. I did have somebody in the comments on my article yesterday on one of the recruits say, you know, did these offers suggest that maybe there's something going on with Jerome Hunter down the road that's going to be bad news? And I have not heard anything like that. So I don't know. You know, I don't think that's the case. It's reasonable to speculate and ask that from a fan perspective, but I want to make it clear that I've not heard anything along those lines.
And then, of course, the recruiting that's coming in a little short this season, I think that's going to play an effect. I'm sorry. If you go into a season with only 10 scholarship players, you're walking a line.
Yeah, and I guess speaking of Hunter, I guess he'd be the 11th if he's available. But, ordinarily I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But coming off a year like last year when 7 guys were at various points out with injuries, it's a very major concern. At least it makes you stop and think, how bad things could get. But if the team stays reasonably healthy, it's probably not that big a deal. The thing that probably concerns me the most is in the backcourt. There's not really a true primary ball handler on the roster other than Fennessy. So if anything happens to him, I think things could get a little bit sideways quickly. But if the team stays healthy, I think, going with 10 or 11 scholarship guys won't be a major issue as long as they're the right guys and they're, they developed over last year, guys like Demezy Anderson that, really struggled as a freshman. If he can make big strides, as people are talking about that he appears to be making, then if you got a roster of 10, 11 guys that are really, all capable of playing at a Big Ten level, then I think they can be okay, but it's not comforting for sure.
Archie was a point guard in college, obviously, but it seems he has a little difficulty recruiting point guards. He hasn't had success in landing them other than Rob Fennessy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, at least outwardly, I would agree with that. It appears that way. I mean, I think part of the problem with a point guard, and I heard on your show yesterday, Christian Lander's dad kind of allude to this, is, a point guard wants the ball in their hands, and a point guard's coming to college to play on day one. And so if you look at a roster and you see a Rob Fennessy who's, pretty much locked in as the starter for the next 3 years, that's going to give people some pause, because I think there's probably other places in the country with a better setup where they don't go into that with so much uncertainty. So I think that's probably part of the situation anyway. And then I think the rest of it is just what we've talked about with recruiting in general for Indiana. You've got your organic advantage in state, including with a guy like Lander. But once you go outside of Indiana, I just don't think kids right now are placing any special importance on an IU offer and an IU recruitment. And that's something obviously that Miller has to overcome. So I don't know if it's anything specific to Miller as a point guard, beyond what you're saying. It probably should be an advantage that it just doesn't appear to be right now. But I agree with the sentiment, at least, that outwardly it does appear to be a little bit surprising.
What's next on the basketball schedule?
As far as recruiting goes?
Sure.
Yeah, so this weekend, similar to the IU team camp, there's a lot of, pretty much all the top teams throughout the state of Indiana are going to be traveling up to the north side of Indianapolis. I believe they're playing at Carmel High School, Hamilton Southeastern, and North Central. You can look up that to confirm. It's the Charlie Hughes Classic. It's a live period event, so coaches can be there like they were at the Ben Davis event last week. So all the top high schools, all the top players, I believe, Leo Galloway, Trey Kaufman, you name them. I believe they're there. There could be exceptions, but most of them are going to be at those 3 high schools, camped out for the day with coaches there. So it's for folks in the Indy area, or really anywhere in the state. You know, if you haven't seen some of these kids, that it is open to the public, and it is a chance to see both players and coaches at these events.
What do you have coming up next on the Daily Hoosier?
You know what? I was intrigued by your interview yesterday with Christian Lander's dad, so I do want to write about that a little bit. So I'm going to spend some time on that this morning because I thought it was a really good, revealing interview. You know, more from a more broad recruiting standpoint. So I want to highlight that in another way for your listeners and for my readers. I think he, as I've said before, I think he is clearly the top recruiting target for this program right now. I think he's clearly the most talented kid in the state, any class. And I think, you know, I think Indiana's in a good spot, but they've got to work hard to close it out with a kid that's got 2 years of high school left.
Yeah, and he's one that you don't want to miss on. He's way too high profile of a recruit. You miss on that one. That's, to me, that's much worse than Keon Brooks miss.
And he to that earlier point, he transitions nicely behind Fennessy. I think they'd have a 1-year overlap, and they're both, you know, pretty much scoring point guards. So I think, you know, while they'll compete for the point guard job, they could be on the court at the same time. So I don't see that as being too much of a concern on their side.
Mike Schumann from thedailyhoosier.com. Thank you, sir, for IU content. Check it out.
All right, Jim. Thank you.
You bet. We've got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Right back from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett. Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Man, it's hard not to just start singing that song, singing along. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Here on this Wednesday, hump day, my goodness. We're halfway there. We're halfway through the week. On the program today, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. We're talking some football, man. IU football recruiting on fire. And fuego! As they continue their torrid recruiting. 4 commitments, I think, in the last couple of days. We'll talk with Matt about that. Freddie McSwain, former Hoosier baller, on the show today. Look forward to talking to Freddie. Romeo in Boston getting settled in. We heard from him a little bit ago. He's going to wear number 45 next year. Man, that's just not a number that I see Romeo in. I mean, there were several scenarios. 0, 22 was taken. But there's other, but I was like 45. I'm like, yeah, don't get that. And then somebody's 49. I didn't think they used numbers in basketball over 5. So for the referees. So they can just, when they signal fouls, the most of that would have to be was a 5 on their hand. They would just do 2-5, 2-3, whatever. I guess they need more numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say the Celtics just don't have that many numbers available, so they got to take
45. What do you think of that number, man?
Michael Jordan for that short stint is what I think of when I hear 45 and think of basketball. Whenever he came back,
I guess the Celtics assign numbers. Maybe you have no bearing on the number you get. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm not either, but yeah, 29 went to Carson Edwards. I don't know if it's a guard forward thing that they're trying to do. Keep that, it's how it used to be. Single digits up to 20s were probably the guards, and then you got the forwards, the 30s and the 40s, and then you had the centers who were in the 50s. That's when the numbers were kept below 5, though. Seriously, did you know that?
Yeah, I mean that was so the refs can use one hand to get the numbers out. Yeah.
So I guess that's going away. But also in the news, Oklahoma State hired Kanan Cunningham. Why do I mention that, you say? Because who's Kanan Cunningham? Well, his brother, Cade, is the number 2 recruit in the country. There's a way of landing a recruit. But I find it ironic. There's been several schools that, I mean, this is not something new that's happened, but it is, right now, probably not something that some schools might want to be doing. Oklahoma State is one of those, I believe, who was touched by the FBI investigation. Cade Cunningham played at SMU. He's legit. He was last season. He was at Tulane, as the Associate Director of Video Operations under Mike Dunleavy Sr. So there's a healthy name, but Oklahoma State Mike Boynton said, I am thrilled to be able to add Kanan to our staff. I have gotten to know Kanan really well over the last year or so and realize his brother is a super player that we need to have. No, he didn't say that.
I was going to say, I was going to respect that a little bit more if he just came out and said it.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be able to add Kanan to our staff. I've gotten to know him, yada, yada. He's a great knack for player development and has a he's got a great knack for player development because he's bringing his brother with him. The trend of programs hiring the relative of highly ranked prospect, it's grown. I mean, like I said, it's not nothing new. Like Ken Bykoff always says, nothing new ever happens. It's grown. Washington, then Missouri hired Michael Porter Sr., the father of Michael Porter Jr. and John Tay Porter. Western Kentucky hired the guardian of Charles Bassey. Last spring, USC hired Eric Mobley, the father of incoming five-star freshman Isaiah Mobley and top-ranked rising senior Evan Mobley. You know what the funny thing is of these couple schools I've mentioned? Two of them were in the heat of the FBI investigation. USC as well as Oklahoma State had assistants go rogue. You would think this is how little respect or care these places have for the NCAA. You add Kansas to that, signing that gigantic multi-million-dollar deal with Adidas. Again, right in the middle of all that stuff going on. They don't care they don't care about the NCAA. They have no respect for them. The NCAA has no teeth. So that's why they'll go on and do stuff like this. They don't care. They know that the NCAA is not going to – what are they going to do? Same thing they've done always. Not much. Interesting. It's interesting. Juwan Morgan with Utah, of course, picked up as a free agent. He'll play in Summer League in Salt Lake City, July 1st through the 3rd. And then they move it on down to Las Vegas for the 5th through the 15th. That's when it picks up, man. That's when you get to see a lot of guys on there. Fun to watch. It's become must-watch TV in the summer. You know, last summer we were watching Thomas Bryant. Troy Williams played last summer, the Summer League maybe?
He probably did. He probably won't play this summer, I wouldn't think.
But he'll be playing. Look for Juwan Morgan with the Utah Jazz as that kicks off here. Well, like a week. We're not even a week away, maybe. Man, if you follow baseball at all, Alex Dickerson of the Giants, former Hoosier, just got traded over from the Padres. I was watching that game last night. He was hitting 400 before last night. That's just since he came over. We're not talking that many games. But, man, he had like 9 RBIs in his first 12 innings with the Giants. He's setting some records. Continued to last night. Got a hit. He may be the most successful former Hoosier at the moment. Josh Fegley's having a good year as well. Tim texts in, wants to know, why are we having such hard time getting a commitment from any guards? When Archie was a point guard himself in college, a coach that is a defensive and former guard should attract over guards. Yeah, you heard me mention that with Mike Schumann. It seems that way for some reason. It's kind of odd. Archie's been able to land 1 point guard since he's been here. Rob Finney. He's tried to add another one for a backup and has just not had success in getting that done. It's got to be concerning. to Indiana fans. But again, I guess it is what it is. It is what it is. They're going to have to win, basically. He's going to have to win to get the outside recruits. Getting in recruits from Indiana is not that big a deal, but I think they're off a cycle. Like I've said it many times, because they put so much effort and energy in trying to land so many of those kids from outside of Indiana over the last 2 years, the higher elite players, and got none of them, that it has put them behind in a recruiting cycle. And with these 2 open spots going into next season, I mean, that's nice and all for next year, but it's still you want to keep your recruiting cycles in check so you don't have these gigantic classes and gigantic holes. So you're just adding each year. You don't lose a lot. You don't have to add a lot. You just blend a little bit. Not quite there just yet. They're working on it. Hey, man, we got a lot coming up on the show today. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com is joining us. We got a lot to talk about in football recruiting. They've been killing it, Tom Allen and that staff. They're just 4 commitments in the last 3 days, I believe. They're mowing them down. We'll talk about all those guys. Also, a convo with Freddie McSwain, former Hoosier baller. He'll join us for a conversation as well. That and plenty more. Coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Jim Coyle, Indiana Sports Beat, back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hey, it's Michael Lewis, former Indiana University player and current UCLA assistant basketball coach, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking the beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you as always. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. Hope you're ready for another good one on the program today. Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. We've got to talk some football recruiting, man. Tom Allen and that staff on fire. En fuego, as they've landed 4 commitments in the last couple of days as they continue to just kill it in that regard. Freddie McSwain, former Hoosier baller, on the program today. Conversation with Freddie. Looking forward to that as always. Freddie's been with us before. Always look forward to talking to Freddie. He's in town helping out with some Archie Miller basketball camps. Last night, College World Series continues. Vanderbilt even things up with Michigan, knocking off the Wolverines 4-1, setting up a winner-take-all championship game tonight in Omaha. Michigan looking to become the first champion from the Big Ten since 1966. Ohio State won the national championship then. Michigan actually won it in 62. There's a grandfather of one of the players, current players, that I think I talked about this yesterday. I did. Kerr was his last name. Dude pitched in back-to-back games, a doubleheader. He pitched 313 pitches or whatever. The second game was 10 innings. And he had the winning sacrifice fly in the second game. Crazy, but watch that game last night. 2 good teams, man. It comes down tonight. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Michigan brings it back to the Big Ten. That would be very, very big for the Big Ten. I mean, being in the finals is pretty big, but winning the championship, well, that's why they pay you more. It means a lot more. It means a ton more. Alex Dickerson of the Giants traded over from the Padres. He's a former Hoosier baseball player. Man, he's lighting it up. He was hitting 400 before last night, and I know he had at least one hit last night that I saw. 9 RBIs in his first 12 innings with the Giants. Let me say that again. 9 RBIs in the first 12 innings. If you want to follow Juwan Morgan as his quest to remain a member of the Utah Jazz, as he signed as a free agent with the Jazz shortly after the draft. He'll be participating in the NBA Summer League first in Salt Lake City, July 1st through the 3rd. And then they move it on down to Las Vegas, Nevada, July 5th through the 15th, as they all come together the big clash. Will Romeo be there? Not sure. He sat down with Amanda Pflugard at the Auerbach Center, Auerbach Center, in Boston to talk about landing there, becoming a Celtic, and all that goes with that. Let's hear what Romeo had to say.
Romeo, it's obviously been a whirlwind for you. You were in Brooklyn for the draft, and now you're here joining the Boston Celtics. What was draft night like for you?
It was a long process. The bus ride over there, just leading up to it. Well, forget that. Just before that,
we'll rewind.
Yeah, waking up, just a lot of meetings just from that time. So it was just a lot of talking and then finally get on the bus. You think that's going to go by fast. Once you get there, all you got to do is just sit there and wait for your name to be called. You get there, you got to do some more media and meetings, and then finally get to sit at the table. And you're just not there yet. You still got to wait a couple more, like 30 minutes or so, and then finally the commissioner comes, and then we're waiting here to wait for your name to get called. Everybody's name get called before yours, so really it's like real nerve-wracking. And then finally, once I seen the cameras just slowly but surely come towards my table, that's when I knew that the Celtics were going to pick me at 14. So it was really surreal, and it was a really happy time with my parents and my family and the people I invited with me. So it's that time I'll remember for the rest of my life.
And just for you, too, what went through your mind knowing that you would be joining the Boston Celtics, one of the most storied franchises in NBA history?
Just that. I feel like Boston Celtics is one of the best programs in the college anymore. Best franchise in the NBA, and I like to win, so I just couldn't wait to get on the team, get to work, get to meet my new teammates, and become family.
Something that's interesting, you weren't able to work out with the Celtics because of the thumb injury, but you stood out to them just through the interview process and what you showed. What do you think allowed you to be able to show them what you were capable of, the player that you are and also the man that you are?
Yeah, I just think my time in Indiana, just that, start with there, be able to play through a thumb injury, because this program's all about toughness and winning and producing, and I feel like not too many people are going to play with a torn ligament, and that showed how tough I was and how much I care about winning and being there for my teammates. So that's one reason I feel like I fit so well in the program and they see something in me. And then also I think I just had a really good interview with them at the Combine. I know that I wasn't going to be able to work for any team, so I knew that was going to be a big part of the process of the team picking me, and I feel like that's what ultimately made the Boston Celtics choose me.
You mentioned that toughness. You averaged 16.5 points per game playing through that thumb injury. How much were you looking to prove that you were not only a tough player, but also a really hard worker? That's like one thing I feel like had to get cleared. I mean, that just showed that how tough I was, and that I'm not just going to quit or really care about this game, that I love it a lot and I'm all about winning. And I think that's like a big reason that like teams and people see in me that how tough I am, just be able to play through a torn ligament and be there for my team. Both Brad and Danny knew about you before you even started playing at Indiana. They were following your career. What does that mean to you to know that they were invested in you and being able to follow you before you were able to produce in college?
It means a lot that they took the time to follow me before I even got to college, and then now that I get to play with them, build an even more relationship. Me get to know them, I feel like they probably already know me pretty much because they've been following me for a while, but just can't wait to get to know me even more.
Speaking of that relationship, Brad Stevens, also from Indiana, what is your guys' relationship right now?
I mean, I didn't really follow him too much just growing up. I just know of him just from being a coach at Butler, but relationship is there, but it's going to be even stronger once we get to training camp.
Yeah, and in training camp, what are you hoping to prove to this Celtics team, and what maybe skill set are you hoping that stands out that the Celtics see and incorporate?
Really, I mean, I feel like the Celtics already know everything I can do. They have the reason they drafted me, but I just want to go in and just do what the coach needs for me to do to help the team win and get another championship soon.
I know you had the surgery on your thumb, going through rehab right now. Describe what that's like for you, and if you potentially might be available for Summer League in July.
Yeah, right now, I mean, I just got cleared to start shooting just not too long ago.
So now I'm just really doing rehab therapy every single day, and hopefully taking it day by day and see what the doctor says, and maybe I can be clear for Summer League.
Awesome. Well, we hope that you are, and we're looking forward to watching you play.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Romeo Langford getting settled in as a new member of the Boston Celtics. Talked about a lot of different things there. Brad Stevens and just all the newness. And there's a lot of newness, man. These guys have their lives have changed forever. It is a whirlwind. Going places, doing things, meeting with people, talking to people, doing this, doing that, workouts. I can't even imagine what all they have to do. And that's before getting ready for the Summer League that comes up very soon. Will Romeo play? That's yet to be determined, as you heard him say right there. He's cleared to shoot. So hopefully the Las Vegas NBA Summer League runs the 5th through the 15th of July. The Celtics' first game is on the 6th. It's a week away. I'm not sure that we're going to see Romeo play in that. I'll be honest with you. You will see Juwan Morgan, though, with Utah. He'll be in Salt Lake City from the 1st through the 3rd, and then they move down to Vegas the 5th through the 15th for that. But it'd be interesting to see. It would be cool. It would be wild to see Romeo playing Juwan Morgan. But we'll have to wait and find out. It's only a week away. We'll certainly know in a week. But with him just getting cleared, yeah, and him being their number 1 draft pick, doubt that they're going to rush anything back. If it is not completely ready to go, I don't see him pushing it. But it may be just fine. Who knows? We'll find out in a week. People get into a hurry. They can't wait. It's like all the prognostication about who's going to be drafted where and who's going to be and who's a 5-star and who's a, at the end of the day, it's just prognostication. Remember Chris Wilkes, big 5-star that Indiana didn't get that UCLA got? He left UCLA to go to the draft, didn't get drafted. He's just one of many. I saw something talking about players who left school and did not and went undrafted. Now some of them will sign a contract anyway, like Juwan Morgan did, but those are just to give them the opportunity to move to that next step. We'll see how it turns out. Hey, we've got a great show coming up yet to go. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. When we come back, we're talking football recruiting because they're killing it still, man. 4 commitments here in the last couple of days. Also on the show today, Freddie McSwain. Conversation with Freddie. Look forward to that as well. Stay tuned. More coming to you from the Eagle Point Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
It's just me, myself, and I. It's just me, myself, and I. It's just me, myself, and I.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Of course, coming to you from the golf club at Eagle Point Studios. And you know that means one thing. We're joined by our good friend Matt Weaver from Peegs.com. Matthew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Great. Man, Tom Allen and that staff, they're just staying busy, aren't they, Matt? They're just knocking it down here this week.
Yeah, it's amazing what a new week can do. I mean, obviously last week, was a little disappointing after the official visits and, not really having any action and some guys, pulling the trigger for other schools. And then this week you turn around and, 3 of the guys that you bring on campus commit. And then, you get the fourth one, the quarterback from Georgia, who had been was there a couple weeks earlier for an unofficial visit. So, yeah, go from 6 to 10 commits in about 3 days, and still got the possibility of adding a few more here in the next in the near future.
You talked about, I think, Dexter Williams, the quarterback from Macon, Georgia. Was he the kid that committed on the spot as soon as he was offered?
No, he got the way they did it. They were there's kind of a top two. It was Hunter Deckers, who I think I talked about before, from over in western Iowa, basically almost South Dakota, right on the state line, and then Dexter. They were offered basically in a pretty short time period from each other. Hunter was offered first, and then Dexter Williams not too long after that. And the staff was very open and transparent, and told the guys, hey, the guy who gets the offer first gets first chance to take it. And then we'll move on to the next guy. And if Dexter would have been offered first, he would have had first chance to take it. It's just the way they went with it. And Hunter committed to Iowa State, and so they called up Dexter. And so it had been probably at least a few weeks since he had been offered. But he did, when they told him that they were ready to take his commitment. Yeah, he did commit on the spot as far as that goes. But he did have an offer for a little while before he committed.
Yeah, there was someone, I don't know if it was maybe Lemuel Neely Watley, maybe. I don't know. One of these guys, I think, committed as soon as they were offered. They were ready to go. But a great week. The latest, Jawan Sparks, another kid out of Florida. They're filling in the B line, man.
Yeah, it's and obviously with Jawan, it's that's interesting. He's from the same school down there as CEO, the big D tackle that's on the team right now, going to be a freshman this fall, and DK, the linebacker DK Bonham, who's obviously at IU right now too, and can imagine being a high school offensive lineman and trying to block those guys in the middle in a game. And then there's another guy, Jerry Theodore, who had a great visit. He was there this past week, and he's also from from Clearwater Academy International, and Indiana's in great shape with him too. So obviously a very productive weekend and a week so far. And with David Baker, the receiver from Indianapolis-Scecina, he's announced it on Friday. There could be more good news coming.
When you see these guys, Matt, that are all from the same high school, same wherever in Florida or a place like that, that is huge for a program like Indiana, because it really shows the inroads that they have made into those pipelines, into those recruiting areas. Obviously we know that they've been doing a great job in Florida, but when you're getting multiple guys, 3 from the same high school, you're really setting a tone.
Yeah, I think it shows. It shows obviously, and the guys obviously that CO and DK that just got here. They just got here, so there's not a lot. But it shows that the teammates are saying good things to the younger guys about Indiana. But also, I think the bigger thing is the coaches. The coaches obviously, and I've communicated with the head coach there. His name is Jesse Chenchar, and then one of their assistants. And they're very impressed with Indiana, the staff, and how they go about things and how they recruit, and how upfront and honest and transparent they are, and what they're trying to do with the program. And I've like I said, communicated with those guys, and they've had nothing but great things to say. And it's not just coaches talk. Indiana high school coaches talk, Ohio high school coaches talk. You go to any state, so coaches in that area, and Clearwater's obviously there, and kind of that Tampa area where they like to recruit. Word gets around, hey, these guys are straight shooters. They're good guys. They do things the right way, and they'll take care of your kids if they go play for them. And word gets around, and that's the way to do it. And Indiana's benefiting from just recruiting in a straight up and honest way, and treating their kids right when they get them on campus.
And then you've also got the guys, I forget his name, the receivers that are coming out of Michigan now. You've got that group, and they talked about really wanting to be a part of that and creating that pipeline, and they're doing exactly that.
Yeah, Rashawn Williams, I think that's who you're referring to.
Yes.
And that, it's when you have a guy of his, guys know who these guys are, these big time recruits, when they're real highly rated, some of the top players in the country. And, he makes comments about, why do you want to go to one of these other schools where you can go to Indiana and do something that's never been done and beat these schools and, take this program somewhere it's never been, at least, not in many, many years. I think that really, that kind of makes other guys kind of take notice and be like, wow, if he's willing to go do that, maybe it's something I should think about. So it's, obviously, recruiting, I don't want to say it's stalled out, but it obviously, you slow down a little bit. You're kind of waiting for that kind of June run. And obviously they're on it right now, and hopefully it can continue here through the end of the month.
Absolutely. And as they continue to pile up this and do this remarkable job recruiting wise, obviously, and Tom Allen has said as much as anybody, it has to translate onto the football field into wins after back-to-back 5 and 7 seasons. But I got to be honest with you, man, we had the opportunity to talk to these freshmen in the last couple of weeks, and I've just been amazed on how bought in to a man they all are, and they are all on the same page. That's almost impossible to do with 100 kids, and Tom Allen and his staff is doing that. Because when you stop and look at it, why is a guy who had no head coaching experience, very little collegiate coaching experience, why has he become the best recruiter in the history of this football program? But he certainly has done it.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, it's recruiting is people skills. Recruiting is developing relationships. Recruiting is there's obviously some sales involved. I mean, you're selling yourself. You're selling what you want to do with the program. You're selling your school. But I think, like I said, the biggest thing I just think it's people skills and developing relationships. And people say what you want about what Tom Allen will do as an X and O's coach. I mean, I personally think, especially as a defensive guy, he's very strong. But time will tell on that. But as a person, as someone who develops relationships and people skills, you're not going to find anybody better than Tom Allen. You're just not going to. I've dealt with a lot of coaches, and he's up there at the top with how he does things and the kind of person he is. So I think that resonates. To get all that buy-in, like you talked about, I don't think that just comes from the coaches. That's got to come from the older players. If the older players are bought in, the upperclassmen, the Nick Westbrooks, the Donovan Hales, like Peyton Ramsey, who's an older player, those guys, both sides of the ball, if those guys are buying in, then that filters down to those younger guys. They realize, there's a certain way you got to go about your business. There's a certain way you got to work. If there's a meeting at 8 a.m., you got to be there at 7:55. I mean, stuff like that, just the little details. And to me, that's what the buy-in is. And, I think these guys came in, obviously full gung-ho to play at Indiana, but I think being around the older players has made it even more so that they realize, this is how we got to work. This is how we got to do things if we want to start having success.
Absolutely. It's a trickle-down effect. You're exactly right. It has to start at the top. And I'm still, though, I'm amazed on they've been able to recruit guys that do buy into that, which is usually a difficult thing to get them all to do that. But they're also increasing the talent pool at the same time, which is even double as difficult. But he's getting that done. He's not only getting guys that are bought in and coming in, but he's increasing the talent pool at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously that's Indiana is the big issue for Indiana for so many years. Even when they've had some teams that were maybe a bowl team, it was the depth, and he's talked about that. Coach Allen's talked about that, the depth, and it really rings true more on defense because in this age of tempo offenses, got teams playing faster and running a bunch of plays. You've got to have two basically defenses that you can rotate in. So basically, you need close to around 20, 22 guys. Now some positions you may, if you have a really good corner, you're going to leave them out there all the time. But you're going to rotate a lot of guys just because it's a demanding physically, and they haven't had that. Talking a few years ago when they had T. Gray Scales, they basically had T. Gray Scales and Chris Covington at linebacker, and then that was kind of it. And those guys were playing 80, 85 snaps, which is just when you get late in the season, you've been playing that many snaps all year. It's hard to play at a high level every snap when your body just is not, it's just physically been worn down. And now they're getting to a point where they don't need a guy to do that. Now they can play a guy 40 or 50 snaps, another guy 40 or 50 snaps, or maybe you can even break it up between three guys. That makes a huge difference. And that's, like you said, they're getting the talent, and they're getting not only getting the guys with talent, they're getting guys with talent and with with character and, the work ethic that they need and the kind of mentality they need to start winning on Saturdays.
I talked about the many great rooms that they've got this year coming back. None better than the running backs room. Cole Guest, who missed all of last season with an injury after having a pretty good season the year before, as a complimentary player, will be back. You've got Stevie Scott, you've got Ivory Winters, you've got Samson James. What can we expect to see from Cole Guest coming back from that injury year?
Well, he should be, ACLs anymore. Obviously, it's a serious injury because, you miss a lot of time. But, ACLs have become so, common that guys come back and we saw it with Ja'Shawn Harris. He had 3, and he was as, basically as good as last year as he was when he first came in. He was, a terrific player, and I expect the same from Cole. He's a hardworking guy. Coming into Indiana, he was already physically ready to play. This is a guy that's, he's kind of a workout warrior, and so physically he should be fine. It'll be interesting to me how they use it because obviously, like you mentioned, Stevie Scott's going to be kind of the bell cow, but you're going to use more than one guy. It's not like the olden days where one guy got 35, 40 carries. It's, you split them up a little bit more, but it'll be interesting to see how Coach DeBoer uses him in his offense because he's got such great speed. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he will get some carries at running back, but you maybe put him out at slot a little bit and get him in some one-on-one matchups, or maybe run some plays where you try to jet sweeps or something where you just try to get him. You want to get him the ball in space if you can, one-on-one, because with that speed, if he makes one guy miss, it can go for a really big play. And he was going to be the kick returner last year. And they kind of altered how they did things. Obviously, they did the whole fair catch thing for a lot of the year. And, I don't know if he'll be back there this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. And if he is, I don't think you'll see the fair catch thing with IU. Now, they'll do it some on the kickoffs, but Coach Allen said in the offseason one of his big goals is making that unit more dynamic. And if you get a guy like Cole Guest back there to return kicks, that definitely makes you more dynamic.
Absolutely, and it also gives them a different look in the backfield. Stevie Scott does what he does, but you put someone like Cole Guest, they didn't really have that Cole Guest guy to come in last year and to give him that different look per se. And I think he just gives them an alternative look that the defense has to deal with. But, man, they've got a lot of options back there this year.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And obviously, when he went down, it was kind of obviously Stevie Scott, and then Ronnie Walker got sprinkled in there some, and he'll be back too. And but those were 2 freshmen, and Stevie Scott had a terrific year, over 1,000 yards rushing. But he took his lumps. There were some games where he didn't play as well as you'd hoped, but that was expected. He was a freshman, and remember he had missed basically his entire senior year, the majority of it with an injury, and there was some thought that he might be a linebacker. So, for him to do what he did is pretty remarkable. And like you said, you had a Samson James, who I've heard great things about his offseason as far as his workouts and how impressive he's been. And then Ivory Winters, who is just kind of a freak. He's a big kid who can really run. They are loaded at running back and receiver. We've talked about it. They're extremely deep and talented. And then tight end, they've got some guys. So the O-line can do its job, and quarterback can play at the level they need it to be, whoever that quarterback may be. This offense could be a lot of fun to watch.
I know I'm like, I don't want to be that guy that keeps saying that what if, but man, I just keep thinking about the possibilities because you got, we've been talking about the running backs here. You've got a Stevie Scott who's got a year under his belt now. You got a Cole Guest back who you didn't have. And you're probably going to have a passing game more so than what you had last year, one that can stretch the defense more, which will obviously open things up for those running backs even more. That could be a dangerous offense.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if there's any doubt. And, you're going to have Nick Westbrook 2 years removed from his injury. Donovan Hale looked terrific. Donovan Hale, it's the best I think I've seen Donovan Hale move. I think I said that in when we talked to one of the availabilities. Just because, if you remember, he's really dealt with. He came to IU injured. He had a knee injury his last year in high school, and he just seemed to have lower body injuries. And when you have those, obviously it's hard to condition, it's hard to run, it's hard to do things. And I think he got maybe, he wasn't big, but he got maybe a tad heavier than you would want him to be, and he looks great. He's always kind of looked like a tight end to me, the last few years. And this spring, he looked like a receiver, just moving fantastic. And knock on wood, he can stay healthy, because I think if he does, he's going to have a big year. Then you get Watt back, Philior. Ty Freifogel really came on last year when he had to be called on, and then they're so high on Miles Marshall. So this passing game has a chance, and then to me, another key is the tight ends. Peyton Hendershot taking that next step, and Matt Bjorson, who played last year as a true freshman. If those guys can take that next step, because they're important parts of the Kalen DeBoer offense. He uses the tight end a lot of two tight end formations. You got a chance to have a really dynamic and productive passing game to go along with a running game that should be really strong as well.
You got anything you're working on you need to tell the folks about?
I'll have some more recruiting stories coming up, and like I said, FIU fans should keep their eyes open on Friday when David Baker, the receiver from Cecina, is going to due to make his announcement. Indiana's in the driver's seat. It's recruiting, so obviously things can change at a moment's notice. But it would be, I think it's going to be a good day for Indiana. I wouldn't be shocked if he's number 11 as far as commits, and there could be some other guys that visited that may be getting close that we just don't know that when they're going to do it. But have those, and then obviously some more availability with the new players, and have stories on those guys as well.
How big a recruit is David Baker?
He's a good one. I mean, he's the he's one of the top players in the state, and you're beating out. This is a guy that a couple of teams that you go head to head with a lot in the recruiting trail. Iowa and Purdue wanted pretty badly, and he's got some good offers. Got pretty good size, 6'2". I think he's around 190, 95 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's right where he is. He comes. Cecina's a little bit of a smaller school. I think they're a 2A school. If I'm not, I could be wrong on that, but it's a good player. I mean, this is a guy that people have seen, and that receiver is going to be an important position. You're going to lose two good ones in Donovan Hale and Nick Westbrook, and so you need to replenish it. And I think they're going to take. I wouldn't be shocked if they take 3 in this class. And obviously, you got a great one in Rashawn Williams. Then if you can add a David Baker, that's another really strong wideout to this class, and he's got a chance to be a really good college player.
Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. Thank you as always, brother. I'll see you later today.
Okay, take care. See ya.
More coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back with former Hoosier basketball player Freddie McSwain. Right after this, we're back. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, and now joined by one of the fan favorites from IU basketball, Freddie McSwain. Freddie Mac, how you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Busy summer for everybody. I know it's right now. It's kind of a time off for you, but it's never a time off, really. But how'd your season go? Your first professional season?
My first professional season was great. I did great as a rookie coming in. We won the BAC championship my rookie year, so I'm a champion my first career. Been a pro, so that's a plus on my end.
You were really assertive this year as a scorer up there for on that team. I noticed, man. You were really getting after it.
Yeah, most definitely. Actually, they put me in more like on the wing on perimeter, so I was doing a lot more shooting and scoring and driving and catching alley-oops and stuff. So I got recruited to play at play in the 3 spot and play baseline and stuff. So putting the ball on the floor, I just showed that I can play the game of basketball and not just see what I was kind of scouted to do. A couple guys in the league were like surprised I could shoot the ball. That's one thing. So a lot of people were surprised I could shoot the ball. So that's one thing I worked on a whole summer, shooting, dribbling, and still working on it to this day. So I'm satisfied with the year I had, so it was great.
Well, you can't catch them by surprise next year. They're going to be expecting that, man.
Yeah, most definitely.
Of course, now you've got some time off. How do you spend your time off? I know that there's when you say downtime, guys are always doing something, though, so it's not really off time, but it's just away from the game. But what are you doing now to fill your time?
Right now, I went home. My first came back from Canada. Just went home to relax. I was visiting my mom. I wanted to see my mom and stuff, and just see my old friends and just travel and just play open gym, play open road. But still, at the same time, I'm still working out and stuff. I'm still trying to also understand that you do you're a pro athlete, but you still got a life to live outside of basketball. So still trying to pick my feet up and relax, but not too relaxed. And I came to Indy to start my training, but also still have enjoy myself while I got this free time off. So that's really what I'm doing. And then I came out to Bloomington as we speak to help out with the camp, with Archie Miller camp. So that's why I'm up here. Me and Josh Newkirk.
You get to help out with Archie Miller's camps, team camps, or not team camps, but the camps that he has. What's it like working with those kids now, especially having, it's not that long ago. You were one of these kids. I mean, if you really think about it, it's not that many years ago. Now you're a pro, but it wasn't that far long ago that you were one of these guys looking up to somebody like you. What's it like now being able to give back like that?
It feels great, and it just shows that I really appreciate Indiana University here in Bloomington and Archie Miller and all the great things he's doing with the program. And it just knowing that I actually went to the camp and I saw a couple of campus when I was at IU. They actually got bigger and taller. And I'm like, wow, like time to fly. So you never can get too high or low with the moment. So that's what I try to enjoy.
And the guys you played with at IU, there's a lot of you guys that are in the pros now, in different leagues and whatnot, but there's a whole bunch of you guys that are playing professional basketball right now. Do you get to keep up with those guys, talk to them? I know the seasons are a little different, but they're all about to be over, if not over by now.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I actually talk to all of them. We all have, group chats and group messages, so we all stay in touch. We snap each other and see text each other, see what area we in, or we like to meet up and stuff. Like a lot of us meet up and talk to each other. We all have seen each other in about a year or so, year and a half or so. Everybody just want to see what each other's doing. We still support each other in our successes, so it's great.
And of course, Freddie, when you talked about you come back to Indianapolis to train, and what all training wise, what all do you work on when you come back, and especially now that you've gone from being in high school to college and now college to that pro level, when everything in that next level brings the next level of everything, and that includes working out and all that. Everything goes to the next level. What do you do now to get yourself better?
The main thing is really just staying safe, staying conditioned while you're having your downtime. And just working on your game every day. Just a lot of shooting, a lot of dribbling, a lot of drills. It only is the same thing you worked on to get prepared for the last season, the same thing you could do to get prepared for next season. So that's what I'm doing. A lot of workouts, a lot of shooting, a lot of ball handling. So that's the main thing is my focus, and just keep myself healthy.
You talk about working on your game and the shooting aspect of it. What's that like now, going from a player that was predominantly more of an interior dominator while you were at IU, but that was out of necessity because they needed that at the time. But what's it like to going back out to mixing in the shooting aspect of it, especially from range?
It's just all about trying to be consistent, because I took basically 2 years off not shooting the ball at all. So it was trying to get my mechanics and my touch and my feel of shooting the ball again. Sorry about that. But just trying to get my feel and stuff back shooting the ball again, like I was before I came to Indiana when I was at JUCO. So it's just trying to get my mechanics back, my feel, my touch back, my shooting.
Talk with former Hoosier baller Freddie McSwain. Freddie, when you're back in Bloomington like you are, do you get to work out at IU much? And what are some of the workouts you do there? Do you work out with Cliff Marshall? Work out with any other guys that are here?
Right now it's me and Josh. Actually, me and Josh had a little slight workout today. A lot of just ball handling, shooting, and just a lot of conditioning. So that's what we do. After we get done with the camp, we just work out at IU. So that's what we do. Just keep ourselves not rusty, you could say, and stay conditioned, and just keep our body tone up, and while we still eat and stuff. So that's really it, mostly.
And how's Josh doing? What's he up to these days?
Same thing as me, doing this camp and just working out and stuff, and just trying to enjoy life, really.
Absolutely. Now, then how long do you have off? What happens after the camps? I know you're working out and improving on your game, but what else do you have to do before you have to go back for the season?
I'm supposed to be going to Vegas. I got this invitation of a worldwide thing going on in Vegas, July 11th, I think, through the 14th. So I'll be up there, just playing for a couple scouts and stuff like that.
And obviously an IU fan. We just saw Romeo Langford get drafted by the Boston Celtics, heading up to play for Boston. That's a cool thing. How do you see that playing out for Romeo?
He's in Boston, so that's where he got drafted. I watched the draft in Boston. So I hope he does great there. Man, drafted and coming to Indiana and heard about all the injuries he had with his thumb. And he didn't want to sit down. He didn't want to think his teammates that he didn't really care, but he actually cared. And I'm glad that was like a statement he made that he's tough and he's strong-minded. So I'm glad Boston got a tough one, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I think it's a great landing spot for him, landing there with Coach Brad Stevens as well. I think he does a great job with kids. And, man, they're kind of turning it into a little Indiana East there. They got Romeo. They drafted Carson Edwards from Purdue. They've got Gordon Hayward. And, of course, Brad Stevens is from Zionsville. So a lot of Indiana flavor on that Celtics team.
Yeah, it's good to have the coach of Indiana on that team. So I know he's going to get a lot of nice feel and be comfortable there.
Freddie, when you come back to IU like these times and you see the guys that are still on the team that are younger, that were much younger when you were here, obviously, what's it like as now you see those guys, they've grown up and they're in those leadership roles and seeing those transitions? What's that like for you, seeing those guys grow up?
It's wild because you come in at the same time. They is when they was a freshman, I was a junior. But still, they were still young. But now they're like about to be seniors or juniors. So I'm about to, it's great. It's really great seeing them growing up and they're mature about the game of basketball and all the stuff they learned in the past from Coach Green to Archie Miller. So I'm happy for them. And I text Geronda and Devontae, I think like last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was just telling them this their senior year. And I said, put everything on the floor, put everything on your table, and see how it goes.
Next year they're going to be a little light. They've only got probably 10 scholarship players. Jerome Hunter's still hurt as of right now. That's going to be a tough go for him. But how do you see the season laying out for Indiana next year?
I feel like they're going to do pretty good. The only thing you got to do is put all your pieces together and go with it and see what happens. And they got a great coaching staff over there. So I'm really happy with the IU program.
Freddie McSwain, I can't thank you enough, man. We always appreciate you. Good luck. Enjoy your time in Bloomington and have a great workout.
All right, thank you.
Freddie McSwain, always great to have him on the show, man. Always great to have any of the Hoosier basketball players or Hoosier athletes with us. Always look forward to that. Great that he's in town as well. Hey, I didn't mention UConn going back to the Big East. It looks like they kind of recognized and they screwed up. I think they tried to balloon the university, tried to grow the football program, but they got left out in the cold when all the conference realignment happened. They were not invited to any of the big conferences, weren't invited to the ACC or anything like that. And the Big East, of course, became a basketball school, and that's where they're going to be heading back to. Not sure what they're going to do with the football side. They will not be staying in the AAC, which is where they were. But those were some good old fun days, man. UConn, Syracuse, St. John's, Georgetown. Those Big East brawls back in the day. Mentioned earlier, Oklahoma State hires Kanan Cunningham. His brother, Cade, is the number 2 recruit in the country. I think he's got another younger brother, maybe, or was that somebody else? But anyway,
Nothing new. This has happened plenty of times before, but here's the thing that gets me. It's Oklahoma State who had a coach caught up in the FBI scandal. USC did it as well. Caught up in the FBI scandal, yet they're doing this stuff. I would think that if you had any care or fear of doing the right thing, you'd be on your best behavior right now. But that is not the case. They don't care. They've seen what the NCAA is capable of. Not much. So they don't care. I think. That's just my opinion on that, though. Hey, tomorrow, Scott Agnes will join us. We'll also talk with Kevin Brockway. I had the opportunity to talk with Samson James and some other IU freshmen. Football program coming up today. We'll have that for you this week. Looking forward to that. We were just talking about that with Matt Weaver, that running backs room, man, wow. So I'm looking forward to the first opportunity to talk to Samson James. That's the guy that was committed to Ohio State, and then Indiana goes to Ohio State, played well last year, but loses. But the next day, he decommits from Ohio State and then commits to Indiana. You talk about being part of that bought in. That's bought in, man. Looking forward to talking to Samson about that. But that means that's a big deal. When you've got everybody rowing the same way, you can go against the tide. You can do about whatever you need to with that boat. PJ Fleck rowing the boat. They got every one of these guys rowing the boat right now in the same direction. And that's immeasurable for a program like Indiana. Kudos to Tom Allen and the staff. Keep talking about it. It's got to transfer to wins. But all looking good. But appreciate you joining us today. Another great program. Appreciate Freddie McSwain. Appreciate Matt Weaver as well. Thanks to Jake. We got more coming up tomorrow. That's going to wrap it up today from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. I'm Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.
I'm still laughing like